Many people are in their isolated mind around, what do I do if this happens? What do I do if this happens? ChatGPT, give me the answer. No. Talk to a friend, spend time with a therapist, connect with other humans. And it really helps bring our perspective back as to what's important in this lifetime and how good maybe we do have it. Therefore, by recognizing the abundance that we do have, we are fueled in the areas that are opportunities for improvement. There's a lot that's out of our control in this lifetime. That's true. There's a lot that's about surrender in this lifetime and really learning that. And there's an area of life that we can still control when we are surrendered in certain other areas of life. And so how can we figure out what those areas actually are if we're constantly chasing and leaking energy, life force energy here? We have a specific reserve of life force energy. We're leaking it here. Then, of course, we're not going to get that much done in a day. It's very reasonable. We have but so much attention that we could pay to these things that we deeply care about, we say we do. Hey you, I'm Anissa. Welcome to Create to Liberate. Today's episode is about managing all of the distractions that are coming at us constantly in this modern world, especially with the state of the news. As always, I share wisdom from my own lived experiences. We are each other's mirrors. We all provide each other a mirror to be able to see ourselves more clearly and hopefully empower each other. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube, and if you're listening on audio, a 5-star review is welcome. So this topic is relevant to me because I woke up so distracted for good reason. Went on a lovely date last night, definitely in fantasy land around that experience and this person that I don't know so well. And so I think whether it's for positive reasons where we have a crush on somebody and we're kind of entering a fantasy mode and it's disconnecting us from our priorities and things that we need to do, our level of discipline, other areas of life that need to be nurtured and attended to, or we're distracted because we're constantly getting stressful notifications, we're finding out more about the news and things that are going on that are impacting people in our lives personally, or we're all interconnected, right? So it doesn't even have to be. So all of it feels relevant to us. I think we're becoming more collectively attuned to each other. And so there's a level of sensitivity as to other people's suffering. That's where I've been maybe in the past week, a little bit more fixation on change of events globally, stock market plummeting, things like that. And in the recent, a very positive way, but both are ways of distracting us from where we are here right now. What are we doing? What was our intention in waking up in the beginning of the day? And how do we sometimes find ourselves moving away from that so much? And how can we rebuild a life that actually empowers us to get the things done that we want to get done, that allow us a deep level of fulfillment, that really feel like we're serving our dharma, our purpose, actually nurture the parts of our lives that are giving back energy to us, like real social in-person relationships versus pouring it all into the void that is social media, etc. So as we know, all this technology wasn't built to really support us, our well-being. It was born out of a place of innovation. It was born really to connect people, to be able to communicate. There was a lot that was taken into account that didn't include mental health. And so now we're really seeing the backfiring of that, with folks really turning to AI to get answers on things that they would tune to humans for, on turning to social media to send a quick message or send a meme, rather than actually picking up the phone, having a conversation, and then meeting somebody in person. There's so many ways that have inhibited people from creating more meaningful connection with each other that is more soul nourishing. I'm in this battle with technology right now because I have taken a little bit more time off, and every time I do, it feels so good. Every time I do, I'm like, oh, I never want to get back on. But then I remember my purpose, which is to empower other people. And the way that we do that these days is by accessing as many people as we can via these social media platforms and apps. So here I am back with you and grateful for that. Simultaneously, the information overload really takes our focus away from what information is really relevant to us here right now. Right now, with the events of the Trump administration and things that are taking place, a lot of people are bombarding themselves with so much news. I was with family this weekend and everybody's consuming so much, more than they can action upon, more than one human could really sit with and digest, process, and not be completely fear-ridden and feel a level of stagnation in life. So I think it's really valuable to think about our creation to consumption intake and making sure that they're balanced. Are we actually processing, expressing, outputting, releasing ideas, communicating with friends, expressing, or are we just sitting in a state of constant inundation with information, with news from things externally to us? How much time are we holding for the meditation, for the introspection, versus the listening to absolutely everything outside of us. We know that businesses are actively competing for our attention for profitability. So on social media, that's quite obvious, but also within the news, when you look at news headlines, they're meant to be attention grabbing, to grab all of your focus and attention because they're competing with other media news outlets. So now we're in this time where every time that you go onto your phone, it's profitable to somebody, depending on where your attention goes, what you swipe to, what you open. And so keeping that in mind, knowing that your attention is a commodity, and if that attention therefore was poured back into you, into self, how much of that could compound? How much growth could there be? That's investment in self, and seeing it in the same way is benefiting you every time you take your attention back to self. Strategies to actually create these boundaries is super important. So mine have been a little loosey-goosey in this past week. I really went to the Bay Area to visit some friends and really didn't want to be on my phone, really wanted to be present with my people. And that's the biggest way that I have a barrier when I'm in person with people. You won't see me grabbing out my phone, recording tons of things and responding to anything, my phone. I'll hold that time till after I'm not in the company of folks. And that might seem wild if you're spending consecutive days surrounded by people, but to me, just holding a little time at the end of the day to tune into something, or a little time in the beginning of the morning to just check if anything is urgent. And that's what I feel is a healthy practice, because I travel to visit friends to really be present with them. But if you are in your day of the life rhythms, you can even still block out specific times for digital intake. So it might be a morning slot at 9 a.m. and then a noon slot and then a 6 p.m. slot. And that's it for the day. And being really disciplined with self to allow yourself that, or even on the phones. Now there's the ability to have timers set where you can just use like 15 minutes of social media per day. I find that really helpful for Instagram and TikTok, etc. That is my limit on a daily usage. Sometimes for posting purposes, I have to go a bit over that, but I let it be that at a maximum. And then I'll always deeply emphasize the importance of meditation and mindfulness practices as a morning ritual or evening ritual. I recommend both, because when you start the day and you hold that space to really just be with self and connect with source, then you know what to return to. You know the power of that presence. You know the power of coming back to tune into your breath and how soothing that is for your nervous system. One of the things that we're not accounting for these days is that you're in fight or flight. Every time you read a news headline, every time you engage with something that spikes excitement or fear or any emotion that's quite extreme, it does stay with you and it does enter your nervous system and dysregulate you over time. So really kind of coming back to protecting self in that way and being self-parenting, to be like, this is not healthy. I hold one day a week to look at the news to get all of my updates. When things that are urgent come through, they come through, that's for sure. And I'm definitely communicating with other people and hearing a lot of updates. But one day a week is enough for me to really stay informed, and you'll figure out what it is for you. So when we multitask, we feel like we're being so productive. We feel like, oh, if I do a little this, then I grab my phone, then I drink a little water, then I go to the bathroom, then I check this, and then I go back to the thing I'm doing. I'm still getting a lot done. Well, it's a lot less productive. And so allowing ourselves to have focused time on the things that we want to accomplish, blocking it out in a calendar, holding the time for it, and really zoning in on the things that we want to be intentional about. And that also includes the self-care practices that we want to be intentional about. It's not just about blocking out our work days, it's also holding time. This is dedicated free time. This is dedicated time in nature. This is dedicated time to take a walk. Many of us are experiencing a lot of decision fatigue because it feels like there's so many things to respond to have an opinion on. One thing I noticed when I got back on social media after a few days off was looking at videos of people that I don't know, and then me having a perspective on their lives. Why do I have a perspective on their lives? That's wasted space within my mental. Thinking about how can we reduce that, because we don't want our attention to be sucked towards what's so unimportant. We really want our attention to be back on us, our lives. Main priority is you. And then my favorite, enhanced creativity, comes with having that ability to focus. So create to liberate. We are here definitely to create things that open hearts and minds, to be engaged in the world, to be expressive, expanded, and allow our creativity to shine through. And when we are so distracted, our attention and energy is pulled in so many different directions, it's a lot harder to focus in on what we want to create, how we're supposed to show up in this life, the ways that we are uniquely gifted to share something, thinking about holding this space for innovative thought, for brainstorming, for problem solving, to get into a flow state, to feel your senses, to be more in your sensual self, to be more in your erotic sexual energy. It's so important because that allows us to be able to create and channel from a feminine place and not just from the harshness, right? So allowing that space allows us to have time to sink in, to go a little bit deeper, and from that deeper place, be able to pull, be able to channel, be able to share through things that others need to hear. I was listening to a speaker that I love, Michael Beckwith, share over the weekend, and he, for one of the first times I've heard him share, he shared poetry. It was so good. And he's like, yep, that's what I do when I get a little bit of time. And it's so true. He probably is so busy so often. This was at the Agape Spiritual Center. He finally did his, his normal sermon, we'll call it a sermon, and shared beautiful poetry. Poetry takes a little bit of time. Poetry is not one of those things that you can just whip out, explicitly write, and then think it's amazing. Usually the right poets think about the right words. What is this truly? How do I sink in a little bit more deeply? I'm sure there's things that you can reflect upon, really saying to yourself, oh, once I have the time, if I have the time, once I have the time, then I'll. But do you want to live a life where you're constantly like, once I have the time, if I have the time, then I'll. No, today, hold the time. Tomorrow, hold the time. Next day, hold the time. You're worth it. This life is so deeply unpredictable. And while we're here, it's so powerful to tune into the things that really nourish our soul, really allow us to see the heightened levels of our creative expression, at least a few times. So creating an environment physically where we can focus more can be helpful too if you're working. So noise canceling headphones, being in a quieter space can help some folks. Some folks, it's putting on some solfeggio sounds for studying, for focusing in. For other folks, it might be the busyness of a cafe setting helps them focus into what they need to do. To have some white noise or brown noise might focus people. Everyone's different. Find out what it is for you. Other ways that help us focus in our environment: website blockers, task apps, really setting ourselves up, like I said, calendared, to be able to enhance our productivity and track how much time we're spending on certain things. Pomodoro technique, the balance of time management and inserting in breaks. We can't be go, go, go constantly. We're not robots, and we've been conditioned into a society where we operate way more robotically than we do as humans. So finding a healthy balance, maybe 3 to 4 hours of work is all you can possibly turn out in a day. And then you have to fit in a life that nourishes you back. Maybe you have to break up your morning and then your afternoon and then your evening because you want to have 3 work slots so you can fit in your full 8-hour day, but it's not going to make sense for you to do that as a back-to-back day with a little lunch in between. That's not very human. Actually fitting in movement. So that's a big thing that I discovered for myself. I need to move like every hour. So whether that's getting behind me and doing a little bit of yoga practice, I always leave my mat out so that I'm constantly in the mindset of, let me get back on the mat, multiple times in a day, just for some subtle movement. Let me go take a walk. That's a really helpful one. Get up, like move your body, make sure that you're fully engaged with your body, because yes, there are ergonomic chairs that are helpful, but now we've discovered that it's not healthy to live the sedentary life. It is more causing of deaths than cigarettes, is the latest studies are headlining. So thinking about how we can make sure that we're incorporating movement into our everyday, because we were meant to be human beings and flowing, and movement is so natural. Being stagnant is so robotic and so inhuman. So really connecting with what it means to be human, breathing more, exercising more, eating good food that nourishes you. And then some people are dealing with the distraction of another human. Are you that person? I've lived with a partner and I was constantly getting a little distracted because I didn't have my own private dedicated space. And it's so important, if you don't have that option within your home, to get out of your home, to find a place where you can actually focus. It is so important to have a space that feels like a creative incubator, or a space that feels really conducive to you being able to get things done that you really want to get done. If they're important to you, then you're worth it. It's worth investing in a table that you can work on for a little longer, a chair that you can sit on for a little longer and is comfortable and more ergonomic. Just find ways to operate in a way that you can sustain, that feel good for your body. Now is a huge time of folks just feeling overwhelmed by the collective suffering, feeling the weight of many people's energies on them. And some of the stuff that we're carrying is totally not ours. Our ability to recognize that really helps us reclaim our energy back to ourselves. And that's a super important practice when you wake up in the morning. Bring your energy back to yourself through meditation and a mindfulness practice, really connecting it in prayer, connecting with source, your spirit guides, angels, and really being like, I call back my energy to myself. I want to feel vital. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel supported. I want to move forward with intention, really allowing yourself to be intentional in this lifetime as a powerful creator that you are. So you're living in a conscious way versus a reactive way. When we are constantly in this fight or flight mode, we're feeling fatigued, adrenally fatigued. We constantly have to focus on resettling our nervous system. So we are in our more rest and relaxed state so that we can make decisions from a higher level place. So we're more responsive, not reactive. But it takes so much energy when we are also still engaging with all the trash, when we're also still engaging with all the distraction. So how can you lessen the distraction so you can focus and hold time for what matters in this lifetime, for the well-being that you deserve to feel, for the mental health and spaciousness that you deserve to feel within your mind? You deserve to feel expanded, to wake up in the morning and feel a sense of optimism, even when things are difficult, when there's hardship. You deserve to live in that delulu of faith and optimism, and also share that with others, because we need that as a counterbalance at this time. It's more important than ever for other people to feel upliftment, for us to be empowering each other on a collective level, because clearly the fear baiting is happening at a collective level. So it's up for people to create that within their own communities, in person with other people, to be a little bit of a light, to share some more love, to share some more optimism, to share some more advice, maybe some guidance, some strategies as to how to move forward, how you're thinking about the future. I'm sending you so much love, and being able to refocus on the things that matter, prioritize the things in this lifetime that you would regret not doing, the people that you would regret not spending time with, nurturing more deeply. Allow yourself that time, that space to be intentional in this lifetime. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe on YouTube. If you enjoyed this on audio, 5-star reviews welcome. Sending you so much love.